Monica, when I finish it, I'll send you a picture of the quilt. I'm quilting it now. I also made my niece a sweater, and it's not a sweater. It goes over the, it's like a, they call it an open sweater. It's crocheted. And then with my great nieces, I'm making them necklaces and earrings and little bracelets in their birthstone. And it's going to be in a little jewelry box.
Okay, I'm going to let everybody in now if everybody's okay with that.
We're ready.
All right, I'm going to admit.
Roberta, I'm making my niece a busy book. So like, it's like made out of felt and I'm sewing it. And so it's like each different page has a different type of puzzle and that sort of thing.
Yes.
Anyway, we should swap because you brought it.
Yeah, call me. I'll help you. Good morning, Keith. And you know you got on there Robert Jones, right? Are you incognito?
I'm turning my volume off.
Every now and then I let my government be exposed, but it's not to be used for criminal behaviors.
Oh, okay, I got you.
Gee, stylus.
Good morning, Jennifer. Jennifer Rich.
Hi. Oh yeah, we have another Jennifer. Hi.
Yes, we got Jennifer McCosey too.
Good morning, everyone.
How's everybody doing today?
Everybody is fine. We still letting people in, huh, Danielle?
Was that Miss McCosey I happened to see, my long lost friend?
Oh gosh,
Keith
yes.
Jones, I love you. I'm sorry.
Oh, mercy. Love is a misunderstanding between two fools. Hello, Jennifer.
I got to take everything he gives too, because I'm in the wrong. Hi. Yep. Don't hurt yourself now. Calm down.
Good morning, Locke.
Good morning, everybody. I'm just getting myself situated and I can get video on.
Keith, I'm sorry they didn't have jelly donuts to send around to everybody, do special deliveries. That was Eve's responsibility.
I'm getting off the call now. There's no donuts. Even though I'm a sick man, I still need my donuts. I get today my cheat day.
Okay, good morning, everyone. I'm going to call the meeting to order. So I am Eve Shippens. I am one of the co-chairs of the Buffalo Parent Teacher Organization. So welcome, everyone. And we're just going to, who is doing the land acknowledgement today if Denise is not on?
Oh, let Kate do it.
Okay.
Okay, well, this is totally off the cuff then because I'm not prepared, but we always like to acknowledge the fact that we are on stolen land, specifically land of the Haudenosaunee and the Six Nations. And it's important that we all recognize this and that this colonized land that is Buffalo, New York, still stands strong. We acknowledge the labor, the stolen labor of African Americans and people who were enslaved and placed in servitude. And we acknowledge this, we understand this, and we dedicate our work towards reparations and doing no harm.
Okay, thank you. Okay, introduction. So I already introduced myself. Well, I guess I did it too brief. I'm Eve. I am a teacher at East High School and one of the co-chairs. and the mother of 3 kids who have graduated from BPS. So I am going to pass it to Danielle to introduce.
Good morning, everybody. Danielle Grismala. I am a co-chair with BPTO. I am also the mother of a son at City Honors. Excuse me, and I will toss it over to Kate.
I'm having technical difficulties. Thank you, everyone. Good morning. I'm Dr. Kate Hawk. I am the parent of 3 Buffalo Public School graduates. I'm a concerned community member and on the executive board of the Buffalo Parent Teacher Organization as curriculum chair. And I'm going to pass it to Monica Stevens.
Hi, I'm Monica Stevens. I am the parent of a 6-year-old at Olmsted 64, and I'm on BPTO, and I've been spending a lot of time this week talking to the media about bell time issues. I'm going to turn it over to Roberta.
Hi, I'm Roberta Cates. I'm a co-chair and a founder of BPTO. I have had 3 daughters to graduate from Buffalo Public Schools, and a granddaughter. I am now, what did they say? I'm an experienced parent. And I'm a community volunteer and a BPTO chair. And I'm going to pass it on to Patricia Murphy.
Yeah, Yala Darity from Dallas. I'm a former teacher from the Buffalo Public School System. Attended there as a student, had my children also attend. So it's nice to be able to reconnect via Zoom with back to Buffalo. And Kate, did you talk yet? Because at one point I got just, there was a phone call, so I didn't catch up.
Yes, great to see you. It's been a long time. I've already talked, so I'm going to pass it over to Miss Denise Barr.
I was just, Patricia, I was just sending out a message. So good to see you, even if it's online. Sorry, everybody, I was late. I was having tech issues. Denise Barr, I am a co-chair with BPTO. I have children that have graduated from Buffalo Public Schools. I had been a parent engagement liaison at Burgard High School, 2013, 2015, right in that range. Seems like 50 years ago. Yeah. Do you need anything else from me? Is that good?
Just pass, Denise.
Okay. Jennifer.
Which one? Apparently there's 2 of us on the call.
Oh, I'm sorry. I only see you on my screen. It's you. It's all about
It's
you.
me.
Let's go.
Good morning, everybody. I'm Jen McCosey. I am a parent of 2 Buffalo Public School graduates, one currently in 7th grade and grandparent of twins in kindergarten. I'm also the West District School Board member, newly reelected. So thank you everyone who was a part of that. I love you, Eve Shippens. And yeah, I'm here as a parent with some, if you have questions as a board member, I got you, but I'm here as a community leader and as a parent.
She didn't pass it, so let's go with the other Jennifer.
And then to Keith.
Okay, thanks, Roberta. Hi, I am Jennifer Rich. I am the supervisor in the Office of Parent and Family Engagement. I was a teacher for 15 years in Buffalo before that. And Danielle, speaking of Pels, is also the parent engagement liaison for City Honors, just so, gotta shout that out. And I am also the parent of an 8-year-old that attends St. Mary's School for the Deaf, but her IEP is with Buffalo. So I, say I'm a Buffalo parent too. All right, and I will pass it to Jeff Perrone.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Jeff Perrone. I'm the executive director of NAMI, which is the National Alliance for Mental Illness in Buffalo and Erie County. And I have 2 graduates of the Buffalo schools and 2 current students in Buffalo schools. And I'll pass it. I don't know who's gone yet, so.
Pass it over to Keith.
All right, Keith, there you go.
Did I hear my name?
Yes, it's passed to
Oh.
you. Thank you.
I can catch too well. My football career is over. I'm Keith Jones. One of the, I guess you could call it, if I'm gonna be like a politician, one of the founding fathers of BPTO. Glad to be on with y'all. There's a lot of work that needs to still be done that we will probably won't be able to discuss today, but we'll be back probably in full force soon. They told me to try to keep stress out my life, but that's impossible. But let's get together and let's do what we got to get done. Now I'll pass it to, I don't have everybody on my screen. Let me hit somebody. Moto G's. By the lock. Well, who where I go to lock? Loc, LOC. I don't know.
Hi, my name's
Good.
Locke.
Sorry.
Oh, I thought it was, I don't know. I'm,
Go ahead. Go
all
ahead.
right. My name's Locke. I have 3 kindergartners in Buffalo schools in Lorraine and at Olmsted 64. I'm also a graduate of Buffalo schools myself. I'll pass it to Moto G.
Probably will be me now. My name is Menji from the Eritrean community in Buffalo from East Africa. Miss Jennifer probably noticed me that we participated on the sign language class a little bit earlier, about 3 weeks ago. Just people to know who I am. I participated for that class with my 2 daughters. I have 5 children. They go to public school. 1, the Buffalo public school system. 4, to charter school system. I am here to learn and to participate on the meeting. Thank you.
We haven't heard from Chris yet. Chris, why don't you introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Chris Salamone. I'm the treasurer of the BPTO and one of the founding members. I'm a graduate of Bennett High School. My 3 kids are graduates of Buffalo Public Schools. Hi, I'm a former teacher. I retired 2 years ago, and I'm still subbing in the Buffalo Public Schools. And I will pass it over to, let's see who we haven't heard from. James Pollard.
Hi, sorry, my computer's playing up a bit. I'm a friend of the schools. I have a master's in teaching, considering getting some work there, but I hear it's pretty rough in the schools right now, so I just want to be supportive, I suppose. Patricia, have you gone?
I've gone, but thank you. I'm not sure who else.
How about we go to Selena next?
Hi, I'm Selena Barreto. I'm the child and family advocate with Best Self Behavioral Health. I am school-based at Frank A. Sedita School 30. I am a Buffalo Public School graduate. And I'm here just to be a part of the meeting and bring back information to Best Self Behavioral Health.
Jordan? David?
David, are you there? He's trying to unmute now. I don't think he can find it. He can't unmute himself. Here he goes.
First, I'm David Cates, a retired teaching assistant and a father of 3 Buffalo education graduates. I'm proud of all 3 of them. They're all doing better than I ever dreamed of. And I'm a member of BPTO from the beginning, and I just try to stay informed. That's all.
Have
I
we
would
heard from
say-
Eve?
Yeah, we heard from Eve first.
Oh, I missed it.
We did have Hope on, but I don't know where she went. And Jordan Johnson, are you available now? Can you get off mute? Okay. I guess we can go on with the meeting. Is there anybody else?
My son would like to introduce himself.
Cool.
I don't.
Oh, okay. You said yes before.
So cute.
Okay, so we're gonna just move on. So just quickly, the protocols, we're about to go into our presentation. And if you have questions or just make sure that you're raising your hand in the like in the hand feature, which is under reactions. If you forgot where the raise hand was, if you hit reactions, it'll raise your hand. Well, it'll show you how to raise your hand. And also just remember to be mindful of time when talking so that everyone gets to be heard. And so I'm going to go ahead and introduce, we have Jeff Peroni from the National Alliance on Mental Illness, and he's going to do the presentation today.
Great. Thank you. Thank you. Am I going to be able to share my screen? Yeah, look at that.
You know what? I don't know if we have the ability to do that.
I think it, is it working?
You are, yes.
Look at that.
Yay. Okay, great.
So I'm feeling a little under the gun because Chris is here, and Chris has been with NAMI and been an amazing volunteer with NAMI for far longer than I have. So, you know, I came on as executive director this spring. So, but I'm grateful to be here. This is a great organization, and you know, I know the impact it has just having, you know, 4 kids being in the system for their entire careers. So thanks for having me here. Again, my name is Jeff Perone. I'm the executive director with NAMI of Buffalo and Erie County, and we are the local affiliate of NAMI, which is the largest grassroots advocacy organization in the country for families and individuals that are affected by mental illness. There's many ways to get to know us. You could go to our website, you could give us a call. We're trying to really ramp up our Facebook and social media profiles. So wherever that is, you know, search us and, you know, learn more about it. Each NAMI affiliate is largely self-directed by its board and its membership. And as long as it meets the state laws for nonprofits and NAMI national guidelines for program practices, you know, that's how we function. Our affiliate sets its mission to be, you know, which is families compassionately helping families of loved ones challenged by mental illness. All right. Our vision is a meaningful life for people with mental illness achieved through effective systems and knowledgeable families. And we achieve those through our core values, which are empathy, which meeting people where they are through their shared lived experience, inspiring hope, belief that the challenges of our lives and our community can be overcome, and tenacity. Through persistence and respect, we can make a difference no matter how long it takes. Those are our guiding principles. We're stronger together, not just in helping each other, but in shining light on policy and systemic problems, and advocating for better programs and services and much needed change to improve the lives of those affected by mental illness. You know, what's interesting is, you know, especially coming out of COVID and then heading into this time of year, you know, I always say, and it just seems to be this way with everyone that I talk to, everyone is in some way affected by a mental illness, whether it's depression and anxiety with our kids, or things that are, more persistent. It's just right now something that seems to be affecting everyone in society, and there's not enough supports for any of us. So that's something we're looking to work on. Here's some numbers about mental illness today. You can see 1 in 5 US adults experience mental illnesses, and 1 in 20 adults experience serious mental illnesses. 1 in 6 experience a mental health disorder, and that's a diagnosed mental health disorder. I think you would probably agree that it's probably a much higher rate for just individuals that are struggling with mental health issues. Half of all mental illnesses begin by age 14, and suicide is the second leading cause of death among people aged 10 to 14. Say that again?
To be able to Zoom?
I'm sorry? Okay, I'll keep going. Yeah, so suicide is a second leading cause. And, in today's world, many of us are touched by the added stress of COVID. And even before COVID, many of us have known someone or had a family member with a mental health condition, people who may self-medicate, develop a substance use disorder. It can be hard sometimes to tell which is a chicken and which came first, which is the chicken and which is the egg. Many of us have been touched directly by the growing opioid crisis or the loss of a loved one who completed suicide. And often the most extreme and tragic outcome is a result of untreated mental illness or inadequately treated mental illness. And mental illness affects everyone, regardless of your age, your race, your socioeconomic status. Everyone in our community could be affected by mental illness. These are just some national stats. 21% of US adults experienced mental illness in 2020. You can read through those. Some other ones, percentages of other specific conditions. 8.4%, or 21 million people in the United States struggled with a major depressive episode. 1.5 million people struggled with schizophrenia, 7 million with bipolar, 48 million people, which is almost 20% of our country, struggle with anxiety disorders. 9 million with PTSD, some sort of PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder, and 3 million with obsessive compulsive disorder. Right. Mental health treatment, therapy, medication, self-care, they've all made recovery a reality for most people experiencing mental illness. And although taking the first steps can be confusing and can be difficult, it's important to start exploring options. And this is where we can help. For those of you who may have had to navigate the system of mental health care in the region, it's a challenge. It's a challenge knowing where to go, who to call, getting through the wait list, who accepts insurances, how do you do self-pay when it's so expensive, struggling with wait lists. So, we try to help how we can. Our name is NAMI Buffalo and Erie County, but we serve anywhere west of Rochester and all the way south to the Pennsylvania borders. Our in-person services are primarily educated and referral related, and in Buffalo and Erie and Niagara County. And it's important to know that we don't do any clinical services. We're not a substitute for treatment or counseling. We provide that sort of wraparound support for families, the wraparound to clinical services and to families and loved ones who are living with a mental illness. All of our services are free to the community. Everything we do, we don't charge for. So we have a helpline, which the number is 716-226-6264. And when you call that number, if you hit option 1, this is a non-crisis support and referral for families, those who have a mental health condition, care providers, and community members. What happens is you call the number and you leave a message and we'll get back to you within 24 hours. This isn't the what now number. That's 988 or that's 911. If you're in a crisis situation, use the mental health emergency line, which is the new number 988. But this is the what's next line. We can help with navigating the systems, referrals for different support groups, and support systems that are available. We have family-to-family classes, which is a formal 9-week education class to help family members and caregivers be an effective advocate for their loved one and their family's well-being. This is a class that really teaches people the basics of mental health and mental illnesses, what to expect, how to navigate the system, really helping them understand what they're going through and what others go through. Something that I really wanted to say is that every one of these programs that you see in front of you are run by volunteers who have been through a situation where they're helping a loved one with a mental illness. They're all peer supports. They are all people who, and Chris can speak to this, you know, they're all people who've been through this and can really share their experience along with yours. Our family support groups meet throughout the region 6 times a month for adult family members and caregivers of adult teens living with mental illness. Again, it's free. We offer an online option, and this is more of an informal setting where you can go in and share your experience and listen to other people's experiences on how they're navigating the systems and dealing with the challenges that they face. Because of COVID, we hadn't had any monthly education meetings, but we're ramping those up in the new year. And that's going to be every month a free, it'll either be online or in person somewhere, ideally within the city limits, where, you know, we just pick a topic that's a relevant topic. You know, unfortunately, maybe if we had known about it a little sooner, you know, a relevant topic now might have been self-harm and suicide because of that celebrity Twitch that unfortunately took his own life this past week. But we try to stay as relevant as possible, and we share as much information. We have local experts and guest speakers present at those. So all of this information is on our website at namibuffalony.org in the calendar. Some other programs that we offer online that are part of the national NAMI are Family and Friends, a NAMI Basics class, and Homefront. Homefront is a program that really, it's modeled on our Family to Family, which is a 90-minute seminar that informs people who have loved ones with a mental health condition about how to best support them. The Homefront program is tailored for military families and offers supports for military caregivers and individuals with mental health conditions. And finally, we have our Mind Matters booklet, which we try to put out every couple of years, but that's a big, thick directory of all the resources that you might be able to, or might want to access if you're dealing with an issue. So if you want any of those, or if you're a representative of your school and you want, you know, several of them to have at your school, just give us a call and I can make sure we get those to you. Real quick about the NAMI helpline. You know, this is a confidential call. The call responders are trained volunteers, like I said, and they all have lived experience with mental illnesses. You know, they can give information about mental health conditions, treatment options, recovery strategies, you know, assist with navigation and navigating the system and referrals within many of the systems that affect families. You know, a lot of people are looking for support with legal issues, with housing, basic needs, filing a complaint, those types of things. You know, there's something in the news right now at ECMC has a comprehensive psychiatric emergency center, which is the clinic, which is CPEP. That's when there's a crisis and you need somebody who needs help emergency. It's like the emergency room for mental illness. And, you know, the conditions there, according to a lot of people, are less than ideal. So if you've had to navigate that system and it wasn't the situation you would hope for, you know, call our helpline and you know, we can provide some support with that. You know, the referrals to treatment services, navigating the system, who can help, how they can help, do they take insurance, those types of things. And then of course they can give you information about our programs and services. Talking about NAMI Family to Family, this is an evidence-based program. It's a 9-week class that you have to register for. It's offered 1 time a week for those 9 weeks, and it's for family members and caregivers and close friends of individuals with mental illnesses. So you have to register. We offer them, you know, in Buffalo and throughout Erie and Niagara County on a rotating basis, and we also have an online option. This class provides strategies for taking care of the person you love. You'll also find out that you're not alone. Recovery is a journey and there is hope for all of us. You know, the online option and the in-person option are available, and you can call us or email us at online@namibuffalony.org. So research shows that participating in a program like this significantly improves the coping and problem-solving abilities of the people closest to the person with a mental health condition to support recovery and advocate effectively. I don't know if any of you have gone through these types of challenges with a child or a loved one, but it doesn't just affect that person. It affects you as a caregiver. It affects the whole family. And knowing that there are supports all out there for you and not just for your loved one are critical to know. You know, it's critical to know how to solve problems, communicate effectively. The knowledge and skills are essential. Don't forget, sometimes it's not what you know, but who you know. So we can help with that. And the right choice of words to convey urgency and need when you're seeking supports are things that we can help with. These are all learnable things. Does anyone have any questions? Right now, I'm kind of moving through this fast. I don't want to go too fast. Okay. Yeah, go ahead.
Is there a way after this that we receive this information via email, like an email, or just to get this information to keep it, you know, for some of us individuals?
No, I'm going to keep it private, or keep it private. Yeah, absolutely. Eve, if I can, Eve's been in my contact. Can I email you the PowerPoint and then you get it out to everyone? Okay, and then in that email, I'll also include a link to our website and ways to contact us, and just some other information. So I'll get that over today, and then whenever it gets to you.
I want to make a comment. I don't have a question.
No, please
Eve,
do.
by the way, you probably haven't met Eve because she's been busy campaigning for Jen McCosey and herself.
I'm on the
But
west side, so I'm familiar with the group.
Well, Eve went through this training with me.
Oh, good.
We both went through the family to family training, and she has done a few classes as well. And she's also my co-facilitator for my monthly family support group. So Eve is involved in this also.
Oh,
and
wonderful.
Both of us have significant mental health issues in our families, and we both found this program to be extremely helpful. And as a teacher, because she's a teacher also, just being able to recognize these things in the students, and knowing how to handle them makes control so much easier in the classroom. And we were able to hook up with Bennett. You mentioned earlier that if any of the schools were interested, we did hook up with Bennett, and we took over the books, the Mind Over Matter, the Mind Matters books, the resource book, and did some training with the teachers so that would help them with the mental health issues, especially now after COVID. There are so many.
Yeah. And we're happy after break to do that with any of the schools in the district. Whatever we can do to support you and your families, that's what we're here for. And thanks, Chris. I appreciate that. So we have a family support group as well, and this is the more informal program. This is NAMI National's signature program, and it's a group in Buffalo will be similar to the groups that exist throughout the country. Again, this is led by experienced, trained volunteers who have a loved one with a mental health condition, and it's open to all adult family members and caregivers of adults or late teens living with or experiencing symptoms of mental illness. It's a 90-minute long session. It's structured so everyone gets a chance to be heard. It's facilitated by these volunteers, and we make sure that everyone has a chance to get what they need. There's 6 groups across the region that are offered monthly, either online or in person, and all of our schedules are on our website at namibuffalony.org, which you'll see all that information when we send that information out. The important thing is this is confidential. It's a safe place. It's a place where you can go and just feel what you're feeling, be met where you are, and to be yourself. Just the stress that a parent can feel and a family can feel when going through these issues is sometimes overwhelming. And I can share a story because like I said, I just got hired in the spring. I'm NAMI's second executive director, but my family experienced some pretty challenging issues last year with mental illness, and I had not heard of NAMI. And when I applied for this job and learned all about it, I was super excited that this existed, but I was also frustrated because, you know, what we went through really has had a lasting impact on our family that we're still trying to overcome. So I want to make sure that, you know, all these amazing volunteers that we work with have a chance to really help and support as many families out in Western New York as possible. So we have to really, really work on raising awareness of what NAMI does and getting more volunteers so we can meet the needs. So NAMI Family Support Group, again, helps family members and caregivers, helps them with having better coping skills. You find that strength in sharing your experience. The more that I talk about my experience, the more that I realize that I'm not alone, that this is something other people have done. And there's a liberating sense that you get when you're able to just talk, when you're able to talk about around people who understand, who get it. There's no judging. Everybody feels in their own way. Everybody has pain in their own way. You know, we learn to forgive ourselves and to reject guilt. You know, this is how I deal with things, but we embrace humor as being healthy. Accept that we cannot solve every problem, but we can figure out ways to manage through those situations. And understanding that mental health conditions are no one's fault. These are traumatic experiences that, you know, nobody wants to go through. But, you know, by working together, realizing that none of us are alone, maybe we can make it a little bit better. NAMI Basics is a free 6-session education program for parents, caregivers, and other family members caring for a younger adult who are experiencing mental health symptoms. 99% of participants said they would recommend this program from others. This is one of those other flagship programs from NAMI National. All their programs are means tested. NAMI Basics is available online through the NAMI Basics on Demand, and we can help you connect with that if you're interested. And you know, this is also something that might be beneficial for teachers and counselors and administrators within the school district to go through. You know, the focus is primarily on families and loved ones caring for adults with mental illness. When people call us seeking information and support for a child or youth with mental health needs and challenges, we can refer them to local resources. The Parent Network is amazing. Mental Health Advocates of Western New York, CompHERE, Child and Family Services. I could list go on and on and on, but it's important to me that as an organization, we understand what our focus is, and when, you know, we encounter somebody who needs something outside of our scope of services, that we get to one of our partner organizations. There's enough need for all of us, and competing, having nonprofits compete out there doesn't make any sense. We all have to work together. So if we can't help you with what you're doing or going through, then we're absolutely going to get you connected with the right people, and it's going to be a warm handoff because we work with those organizations very closely. Like I said about Homefront, Homefront's the 6-session class modeled on the Family to Family, but it's for family, caregivers, and friends of military service members and veterans with mental health conditions. It's designed to address the unique needs of families of those who have served or are currently serving our country. It's taught and trained by family members of service members and veterans who have a mental health condition. So it's all peer volunteers with lived experience. And it's offered throughout the year online. So we can connect you with that as well. Chris was talking about our Mind Matters guide. We can get this to you. We can get a bunch of them to you if you're interested. We don't have enough to give out to every student, but we do have enough to give, you know, a nice stack to every school if you're interested. It's you know, nearly 300-page tool that families use as a reference and guide for topics that range as far from hotlines and warm lines, child and adolescent and adult service provider listings, ways to find legal help, mental health warrant information, suicide prevention and awareness, medications, and more. It contains information that's also available on our website, and you know, there's no charge for these. I think there was a time where we did charge, but I think this is an important resource to get out to the community. So if you or your school is interested, we can get these to you. We do appreciate any donations that help us produce this and keep this current, but we don't want cost to be a barrier to getting these into the hands of the people that need it. You know, as we talk about this, and I doubt anyone here really has to worry about it. I think you're probably all familiar with, you know, mental illness and how it's perceived in the community. But the stigma of mental health and mental health treatment is a huge barrier in our society. You know, if you break an arm, you have no problem going to an emergency room. If you get the sniffles, you go to your doctor and you get medication. Or if you have cancer, you get the treatment that you need, and you share that with those around you. But if you or a loved one is struggling with a mental health issue, that's always kept very quiet. It's hush hush. It's like one of those things that people whisper. And, you know, we're working with the Anti-Stigma Coalition in Erie County. The stigma that accompanies just our society's view of mental illness can make it even harder to seek and find treatment that can help. So anything that we can do to end the stigma is something that we're going to be involved in. And this is different based on community to community and you know how different cultures perceive mental health and mental health treatment. So if there's anything that we can do to help start the conversation in your community, whether it's in a church setting, you know, a geographic community, or a school community, making sure that people are comfortable talking about mental illness is really how we're going to provide better supports for everyone. NAMI FaithNet is another online program offered through our national organization, and this is a interfaith resource network of NAMI members, friends, clergy, and congregations of all faith traditions who wish to encourage faith communities who are welcoming and supportive of persons and families living with mental illness. It strives to encourage welcoming and caring congregations, as well as to promote the vital role of spirituality in the recovery journeys of many who live with mental health conditions, those for whom faith is a key component. Faith is a great way to navigate some of these, get some of the support that you need in these times. And FaithNet's one of the programs that we offer for that. And then our newest program is Sharing Hope. And this is something that we're starting in Buffalo on the east side and in the city of Niagara Falls. It's a 3-part conversation being presented in partnership with a number of Black faith organizations in our area. It looks at mental health through the eyes of youth and families and community of color, and engages participants in a guided conversation and activity after each video. So it's a 3-session program where you watch a video and then have a discussion about it. Each session provides a simple, easy to use skill to help with building good mental health when participants leave each session. I have a brief trailer, but I don't want to take up too much of your time to show, but when you get the PowerPoint, please take time to watch this and understand what Sharing Hope is. We're offering our first program in January, and we can get that information out to you when that is, but it's going to be on the east side of Buffalo. All right, so that's about it. Thanks for having me here today, and I'm happy to answer any questions or provide any insight that you might have or might need, and listen to any comments. I want to check the chat real quick. Eve, thanks for answering.
Roberta has her hand raised. Go ahead, Roberta.
Okay, thank you.
I just want to know, what is NAMI doing now to reach out to the immigrant population?
Locally, we haven't done enough. And that was one of the things when I came on this spring, I recognized that that's something that we haven't had. And part of it is that, we need to build our capacity in having the volunteers who can provide supports. And we want volunteers that people in each community can relate to, people who are from that community. So one of my plans and my long-term goals over the next year or so is to really start reaching out to that community. It's where I live. I mean, I live right in, the communities where, our entire neighborhood are immigrants and refugees from other parts of the world. And, they need supports just as much as anyone. So we need to really build our volunteer base up so that we can have people who can be related to. NAMI National absolutely has programs that are translated into multiple languages. So we have the ability to offer these programs. We just have to build our capacity. So I'm open to any and all suggestions and guidance in that area. And hopefully, Jen, when we're ready to really start moving into this, that's something you and I can sit down and talk about and connect with the right people.
Keith, you had a question? No? Okay, so Patricia asked in the chat, there was a segment on NPR yesterday talking about a community-based program that's used in other countries that's starting to be introduced here in the States. I only caught the tail end of the radio broadcast. Do you know anything about this?
I'm not.
If it rings a bell, something about an orange bench.
Really?
Apparently in other countries, there's a way that people that need some support can sit on an orange bench, and then community members tell them what resources are available, something like that, but I only caught the tail end.
That's really interesting, and it really speaks to the fact that having peer supports, having individuals in your community who have that information, have that experience, that can help you along that system of navigating all the resources and dealing with your own trauma. I'm going to look into that. I appreciate you sharing that, and if I can find something, if I can find a link, I'll send that to in the email as well.
Any other questions or comments?
So just real quick, my husband's over here looking online. There's an article in the New York Times from a couple of years ago about an orange, what was it called?
Orange.
We'll send it and put it in the chat. Maybe it can get us started. It's something that they use in Zimbabwe. Orange something, orange block or something. I'll put it in the chat.
Friendship bench.
Friendship bench. The friendship.
That's a really neat idea. Maybe that's something we can explore. Maybe it's something we can explore with some of the other providers in the area. And it's not just be a NAMI thing, but be a NAMI and a mental health advocates and a crisis services type initiative. Any other questions, comments?
There's one in the chat, and I'm sorry, I do not remember.
I will.
Go ahead.
I will elaborate to that directly. That I might have a follow-up question if you allow me.
Please.
I participated pretty much a lot of meetings, which it cost me my time, and I have little kids. You struggle, but you do also your part to show that you are a part of the community. You displace it and miss it, your own culture or your own opportunity in your country, and then now you want to create another community, or you want to be a part of, because you don't want to be called, but you want to be by yourself. But I struggle with one common issue. Any organization or any meeting that I go, I don't see the right approach towards immigrants, which I guarantee the mental health issue is way bigger problematic among the immigrants, because culture or religion base, they may avoid even to listen about it because what they have experienced in their country. But most of them, they run from wars, from famines, from a very strange, extreme culture. To make that narrow, is, do you have any plan in mind about recruiting volunteers or to bring immigrants to be a part of your mission so they can extend the message or the conversation to impact their community or their society? The second part is a lot of immigrants suffer getting a place to be gathered, like to have dinner or celebration together. It does seem it's a big issue. Do you think getting community services so they can be gathered could help to reach out, community each other for to have an open conversation? Because we had just 16-year-old girl has died at home recently from our community, and we did one meeting, and we worked so hard to get more people to participate, but it was so disappointing. Very less people participated, but it was very, very, very critical and very important for us because we want to try to educate our people about that. So what can you help me to learn about these 2 points that I raised? Thank you so much.
No, thank you. I'm grateful for you sharing that, and I'm sorry about the young woman from your community who lost her life. There's more that we can do, not just as NAMI, but as a society, as a community, a Buffalo community, to provide these supports. It's, there is a challenge when working with individuals and communities that come from another country or another culture, another faith tradition. Their perception and their approach to mental health and mental wellness is far different than maybe we're used to in the Western sense. I will be the first to say that maybe our approach to our meaning, our Western culture, our approach to how to deal with and how to treat mental illness isn't always perfect. And there's lots that we can learn from other countries. Our goal is to become, as an organization, more inclusive of everyone that lives in Western New York, primarily within the city of Buffalo. Because we're volunteer driven, we haven't done a whole lot in the city historically, but I live here. I've raised my kids here. I see the need for support such as ours in this community. So as we move forward with expanding our supports into communities that we haven't been in yet, we're not just going to come in and plop a program down. We're going to come in and we're going to meet with, Somali Bantu organization. We're going to meet with other organizations that represent and have the membership of individuals who have come here as immigrants or refugees. Luckily, I'm on the board of Westside Community Services as well. So, maybe between NAMI and the community center, maybe there's an opportunity for us to help bring some people together. So maybe that's something that we can connect later offline and figure out ways to really provide that space for people to gather and to share their experience and to share their pain and share their love. So if that's something you want to work with, moving forward, I'm fully on board and we'll help however we can. I hope that answers some of it. I don't have all the answers for this, but it's a lot of important issues that you raised.
I'd like to make a comment. I would like the gentleman to know that our programs are open to everybody. If we do have a couple of immigrants, I can't remember what country they're from, that come to our family support group that we have over at the Save the Michaels building. And always when we do the family to family program and the family support, we always encourage the people to come on board and take the training and join our forces so we can reach out to more people. So I think the first step is getting people to know that NAMI exists and that they go on that website and they join the classes or they join the support groups and they find out what's going on and, then volunteer. But yeah, we do need to reach out more in the community. We just don't have the people right now.
Yeah, not to take the time. not
Go
to
ahead,
take
I'm
the
sorry.
time, but just as a follow-up question, to conclude my idea, what I meant for what I said early is, because I want to hit my point. We have WhatsApp or Viber that could hold 100 or 200 people. If early morning I post a 2-minute reading in our language, the higher opportunity people will read or see it. So any idea that comes reaching community through their bridging connection or network like Viber and WhatsApp they look like to me a little bit more effective. So what I meant is reaching the immigrants to have there are a lot of immigrants, they want to be volunteers. They want to be equipped first though. They want to get the training hand on first because they want to know, and then they want to share to their community because they have a passion, because they are building a dream to come true in America, because they want to be the way they feel, because they've been already volunteers or they've been working in their country maybe for free if the government wouldn't pay them enough. So there is an idea inside, but they want to participate and then maybe they don't know how. So it is very good to reach or to target them so they could be a part of. And also it's very hard to reach by one language because the language barrier, and then more languages, variety ideas, variety experiences could be collectively, and then we can tackle in an easy way or effective way to this very horrific problem around us. And it's very problematic. Then we should really work together in order to reach more people effectively. That's what I meant. I brought the idea. I appreciate it. I concluded my idea.
I appreciate you immensely, and our strength as an organization and it really as a community comes from our volunteers and the people who dedicate their time and their experiences, share their time and their experiences with others to navigate these supports. I would love to connect offline and maybe talk about some more ideas that we can really reach communities that we haven't had enough presence in, and the ways to do so in a way that's sensitive to their experience and their cultures, and absolutely in a way where language isn't a barrier. So I absolutely, my email contact will be on the email that I send out with my phone number, my cell phone number. I would love to connect with any of you to really grow our supports in areas that we haven't done a good job of in the past, because the need is there. You're entirely correct.
I did go on to the national website. I know this doesn't answer a whole ton of languages, but just for people's information, the national website also has a like you could go in Spanish on it. So so that's not it's not reaching everybody, but it does reach a little bit more people. So just to keep that in mind as well. And we will be sending out a follow-up email with more information and how to get in touch with Jeff so that some of these ideas. I've been with NAMI since 2018 was when me and Chris first went in training, and we did the family to family class, and then we started going to a family support group. And then eventually we were asked whether we'd like to be trained to do family support group and to do the family to family class. And we both did that. And I wish I had more time in my life because it's very valuable. Also, like having been years later past the crisis, when I go to family support group and facilitate, it reminds me of all the things that I need to remember about being a caretaker of people with mental illness and taking care of myself and having empathy for what other people are going through and not letting, I shouldn't say not letting, minimizing the impact that I internalize of someone else's crisis. So it's been such a resource to me as a teacher, as well as family member and a friend. So I greatly encourage anyone who, and I don't know anyone who doesn't really have mental illness impacting their family, because the numbers are so high, and especially after COVID, the numbers are even higher. So it's a great resource and tool to know about and have in your back pocket. The family to family class is super informative, and it's just really great. So that's why we wanted to highlight it this month, because we know a lot of folks are struggling.
Yeah, thanks, Eve, and I appreciate your time. And you know, again, I'm still learning as we're going too, but we do have amazing volunteers that have been with the organization for a long time. We have staff members that you know, are experts in this area. So please reach out, let us know how we can help, and you know, I hope to hear from you and to work with you in your schools, you know, in the future.
Hey, thank you so much for coming.
Thanks.
Greatly.
I'm going to step off too because I have to move my kids out of college. So in this weather. So everyone stay warm and have a great weekend.
You too. Okay, so now we're moving on to the recap of the Anti-Displacement Summit. We didn't assign anyone this. Who's recapping? Am I recapping?
Who was the
Okay.
narrator?
Sorry, Roberta.
I said, who was the narrator? Who was the narrator? You were.
Yes. So I guess I am recapping. So our last monthly meeting, we decided to, in lieu of the November monthly meeting, we did the Anti-Displacement Summit. We are in our city, which is a coalition of different community-based organizations that work on issues that directly impact our community. We presented on education, of course, and we talked about our three major focuses, which is transportation, ending the school to prison pipeline, and also equitable funding for our schools. And it was a very full and rich conversation. We were so late to lunch because people didn't want to stop talking. There is a wealth of knowledge that a lot of people are not aware of. And if you talk to any of us on executive committee, we probably could go on for days about Buffalo's education history and why this is so important and the reasons for inequity. But it was a good conversation, and it also is leading to having real platform pieces to put out and push for to be enacted in our city. So that's one of the reasons why we participate, is to make sure that education is at the forefront and that we really are well represented in city government on these issues. Does anyone else want to add anything else? I thought you wanted to say something, Kate. Go ahead.
Okay, just, hi, everybody. I just wanted to I pulled up the Jamboard, which now I have now messed up somehow, that we made during the summit. And just to sort of push some of the ideas that people came up with on our 3 issues: transportation, education, aid, and suspension in prison to pipeline. Some of the things that people felt really strongly about were expanding after-school programs. That was a discussion point. Fully restore art and music. Also, environmental education and a broader understanding of youth rights in the city. There were more discussion points. Those were the things that sort of ended up on the Jamboard. But it was a great discussion. And if you were there, thank you so much for participating. And if you weren't there, there will be more information coming out. I was just searching my email, trying to find, I know there was going to be something from our City Buffalo that sort of condensed everything that all of the other groups had talked about while we were busy talking about education, because there's lots of other really important issues in our city, obviously. So anyway, I just wanted to put my 2 cents in there and remind folks, it's been a while since we were at the summit, and about how really the conversation was an excellent one, and we really appreciate all of you.
And before we move on, this would be a great time to, because transportation is one of the issues, is if you have not yet taken our transportation survey, and you, especially if you have a child that goes to the Buffalo Public Schools, we're asking everyone to go ahead and take our survey. We really want to represent as many parents and as diverse of a group of parents as possible as far as these transportation issues, because there's a lot of solutions being thrown around, and we want to make sure that the solutions don't negatively impact children and families. And so we're asking people to make sure they fill out the survey so your voice can be heard. We plan to share the survey results with the district, with the board, and with the media. But no names are attached, so it's confidential. We're not putting anyone's name out there. Okay, moving on. Our next thing, we're into committee reports. Keep having to scroll up. Nope. We're into treasurer's update. Chris.
Hi, we just received a $15,000 donation through Push for our involvement in the, I never get the name right, cities.
Our city.
Help. What is it?
Our city.
Our city, okay. So we're in pretty good shape now to do some of the cultural events that we'd like to do in the spring. I don't have a total for you, but if you give me a minute, I can pull it up. I didn't realize I was going to be first here. But we are doing well financially at this point because of the donations.
So I just want to clarify the difference here between donations and grants, which typically come with, strings attached. So I'm not quite sure whether that would qualify as a donation versus, making good on a grant, because we do agree, as we're working with different funders, to do certain things in order to get that funding. And I believe that a portion of that is for our work on the anti-displacement summit, but I might be wrong, but that's what I think.
There was no explanation. I just got a check in the mail, which is always nice. But yeah, you're probably, more familiar with that than I am. Yeah, so right now we have close to $42,000 in our bank account. So we will be able to do some of our cultural events this year.
Okay, the next thing, we're going to go to the standing committee updates. And the first one is education policy. So that's Kate.
That's me and Denise. We've sort of merged our education policy and our curriculum committees together, because those two things are quite linked. Let's see. Well, I guess I didn't really bring everybody up to date after our last meeting because we were at the anti-displacement summit. But we did have a real push. Our curriculum committee / policy is really an active group. We have quite a few people who regularly come. We meet at the end of every month on a Monday night at 7 p.m. via Zoom. And we did a big push in support of our curriculum. We got a letter that we co-wrote, published in the Buffalo News. We read the letter at the board meeting at South Park Elementary School. I forget those South schools, I never know, but it was an elementary school. And what else? And so we are supposed to meet tomorrow night on the 19th, or not tomorrow night, Monday night on the 19th. But I think that meeting is going to get pushed because Dr. Morrell, who I also meet every other month with in order to have a real clear communication link to the district, she had to reschedule. So typically what happens is we have an ongoing Google Doc where parents, teachers, community members can put concerns about curriculum specifically in, and then I share that with Dr. Morrell every couple of months so I can get her input on it. And that has proved to be very fruitful for both Dr. Morrell's office and our communication. So anyway, I'm meeting with her on the 20th. So I don't really have much to report. We do have some subcommittees working on different research ideas in terms of our group is really focused on promoting progressive education in terms of allowing teachers more autonomy and also facilitating versus holding all the knowledge with students and giving students more of a chance to converse about important and contemporary topics. So we are doing a little research on that. So I think that's all. Denise, is there anything else I'm forgetting?
No, I think it's important to mention that, we're striving to get as many people involved in this conversation through the groups that we're working with. Education is key, as we know, and obviously there's a lot of facets to that conversation, but it involves not just the people that have kids in school right now. I don't have kids in school right now, but I still have to be interested because I still want to see what's best for our children in the city of Buffalo regardless. And so I think it's important to note, it's not just for those of us that have children in school. Yes, they are the heart of what's happening right now, but community organizations partnering, community members partnering, it brings the whole thing together. So, if you, excuse me, have opportunity, if it's something of interest, even if you just sit in from time to time just to gather information, you have to know what's going on in order to be able to really understand what the problems are, what the situation really is. So I recommend that. Thank you.
Yes, thanks, Denise. We even have people who our community members whose kids go to private or charter schools, but they want to know and they want to help. I got a reach out from Nanette Massey. She did that really great all-day event with Robin DeAngelo on white fragility at Canisius College last month. And she wants to work with some of the independent schools around Buffalo, and thought I might have an access point for her. But honestly, there are people on our committee that I pointed her to who have, I'm dedicated to Buffalo Public Schools, obviously. But I did have other people on the committee that I could point her towards, so that we're all connecting each other with these really important concepts and curriculum points. So I think our next meeting on Monday is going to get pushed, but we do have a scheduled January 30th meeting. If anybody wants the link, I'm happy to send it out. Just email me at katehawk@gmail.com, and I can send you the link. And that's all we have.
And I somehow skipped the Say Yes update.
Sorry, that's me too. So yeah, the Say Yes meeting for this month, I'm on the operating committee. It was in lieu of their meeting, we were invited to Northland Development Center just yesterday or the day before, the rainy day, and they had a labor market analysis. So I was a little bit out of my league, but I sat there with a lot of other like corporation owners. There were people, representatives from Say Yes. So they basically, somebody hired this company to come, and since April, they've been doing a labor market analysis of the city of Buffalo. And this company went over the report, which is like hundreds of pages long, but they had 12 recommendations for the corporation owners really who were there, as well as city government representatives, Buffalo Public School representatives, Say Yes representatives, etc. And none of it was anything that we don't already know as city members. And actually I do have like the top 5 regional challenges. If you're interested in the executive summary, number 1 is aging workforce. Number 2 is the fact that aging workforce is primarily male and white. And so diversity, equity, and inclusion is the number 2 issue. And for those of us who live in the city of Buffalo, we understand how segregated we are. Number 3 was lack of skilled trade training opportunities in diverse communities. In other words, a lot of the training opportunities are outside of the city, and because of our crappy transportation system, people can't get to them. So that's number 3. The 2 top real needs in terms of skilled trades were carpentry and like heavy machinery mechanic. And then number 4 was employee-employer mismatch, that employers are constantly saying there's nobody here that has the skills that I need, but then there are people looking for jobs who can't get a foot in the door. And then number 5, which was a big one, was talent retention, that we're graduating all of these wonderful students from 4-year degrees, and they all leave, or the majority of them leave. They also talked a lot about students from other countries who come to the United States and they have an H-1B visa. I think I'm saying that wrong. But in order to be retained in the workforce, they have to have a sponsor, which is a little complicated, but we don't do enough of that. So it was interesting. Like I said, I was a little out of my league, but the 2 things that really came home to me were Buffalo is still has extremely, the racial segregation and the racial animus that is present in Buffalo is a huge problem. And our transportation system is a huge problem. So I hope that helps. So that was that was the meeting. And next month we'll go back to our regular spot on Jefferson.
Okay, Family Engagement and Events Committee.
I'm going to jump in here. We are working, Roberta is the Family Events Committee. I see she's unmuted, so I'll turn it over to her in a second, but
No, go ahead, Danielle.
I do want to just talk quickly about the parent engagement learning institute that they ran last week. I think it was last week. I don't know, all the days are blending together now, but we the district has committed to really bolstering our family engagement and getting people involved in the schools, in their child's learning in any way we can. So we did this really powerful 2-day institute and learned lots of different strategies and techniques to get parents involved. And I'm pretty excited, being a new PAL, parent engagement liaison with City Honors, to start implementing some of those strategies and really start seeing these the district kind of moving forward and helping our kids succeed. And so that's my update. It's not really our committee, but it just ties into everything, because we put on events to get our families engaged and bring them into the BPTO and the work on the district level. So this will help for sure. And I'm excited to get that started. So Roberta, I'm sorry, you can go ahead now.
I just wanted to say that, yeah, it's that, like I said, this time of the year, hopefully during the downtime of next week, well, after Christmas, we have downtime. I call it downtime. I'll have a meeting. And all those people who reached out to say they wanted to be part of the family engagement, there is agenda that we have to then put in place for the springtime of the year. And we'll reach out and start planning all of those events. Along with that, there is also, Jennifer Rich can correct me if I'm wrong, because she's kind of running it right now. We have a family event that involves BPS parents that happens in the spring of the year. And I think Danielle volunteered to be part of that, but I'm not sure. And this will, it's usually in May. And I'm gonna let Jennifer talk a little bit more about that, because that's through the Office of Parent Engagement. Go ahead, Jennifer.
Thanks, Roberta. And yes, and I just put in the chat as well, the framework that Buffalo Public Schools will be implementing and what everybody was receiving the training on, and then we'll bring in turnkey training. But it's called the Dual Capacity Building Family and Community Engagement Framework. But it really is about breaking silos in the district and getting everybody on the same page about parent engagement. So we do also have a district team where we have department, cabinet, building administrators at the table, as well as teams within buildings. So really trying to do, I'm calling it like a hard reset on parent engagement in the district, but we're really moving this work forward. And then I also put the link to our website that we've been updating with information. And yes, what Roberta was mentioning is our 2023 Parent, Family, and Community Engagement Summit. This year is going to be June 3rd is going to be the celebration day, and that will be at All High Stadium. And then we are going to have the awards ceremony on that Tuesday right after Memorial Day, May 30th, I believe it is. And that will also be at the Bennett Auditorium in the evening. And we're actually going to be putting out, we just had a summit committee meeting yesterday. Oh my gosh, I know, Danielle. Yeah, every day is, I don't know what day it is. And then I'm sorry, I have family here visiting. So it's been this, yay, the holidays. But yes, so we are going to be putting out the nomination forms. If anybody was familiar with last year's, it was a Microsoft form that went out. And we want to make sure that everybody has enough time, because really we're looking for celebration representation from every single school in the district. And it was very encouraging. If we're talking about the Family Engagement Institute that we just held, every single school in the district had representation. And I got to say, like, our high schools showed up. Like, I was so impressed because people are like, oh, we can't get parents. But I mean, they were hungry for learning strategies, and it was really encouraging to see the work that was being done across the board. So I'm very hopeful for this. But if anybody does not already get 700 emails from me about the summit, please, yes, you can either email Danielle or you can email me. I'm just jrich at Buffalo Schools. I'll put my email in the chat. If you have questions, want to get involved, the more the merrier. This is really a big thing. It's going to be the first in-person one in 3 years, but we really look at highlighting the work of the district, highlighting the work of our families and our community. I think that's about it.
Eve?
Okay, the next committee is budget and fundraising. Is there any report from them?
No, there's no report.
Okay, communications and district. Any report on that? Okay.
Can Monica talk about the
Survey.
work that she's been doing with transportation, or is that somewhere else?
Yeah, well, I just put her in the, I just figured we'd put that in the transportation update, but yeah, we can just go to that next.
Are there any other updates for transportation other than the survey?
Keith?
Just keep that updated.
The only other, I think the only other update right now is the that pilot program that they were talking about implementing is going to start in January, paying the parents to drive their students. Excuse me. So that will start January 3rd, and I have all the people that were approved through the district will be getting an email directly, and then they have to do some steps to get it started, and then that will start on January 3rd. And I'm told, now I'm not part of the Operation Sunrise. I haven't been to any of those meetings, but I get the information kind of secondhand, and I'm told it's 1,580 students. I don't have the breakdown of like BPS versus charter, so I don't really know much more than that program was greenlit, and it's going to start January 3rd.
Larry Scott put out the district numbers on how many buses were being replaced. And I remember that there were 2 for Olmsted, there were 3 charter schools. And I don't remember what else there was in there, but I ended up looking at the numbers, and it was 6 schools that are not Title I schools out of 11 schools that are getting buses replaced. So.
May I add something?
Of course.
I just want to add that this was a suggestion, this whole paying the parents and this pilot program was a suggestion from community. So I would really, I mean, this transportation issue is not just a BPS issue. And I don't know how many times, you hear it, but take into account it's across the country. So we are looking for suggestions, help us figure out a way to deal with this. I'm encouraging, especially such a powerful group within the BPS to really, your transportation survey and the whole 9, like push for that, because we are, it's a struggle. It's a struggle. And as a board member, I've literally been threatened because, some students are not getting what they need. And it's part of the process. It's part of the game. It's why I signed up. So now I'm just looking, and I know I don't normally speak for the board, but I know that we all agree that we're taking in as many suggestions as possible. Please bring them into the district. Know that First Student kind of is where the crux is, because they are the ones providing the buses, but we have done, raises and different pop-ups where people can interview, and we've connected with the city to make sure that the civil process around obtaining applications is moving a lot quicker. More people have been hired in these departments. There are things that are happening, but we can use everybody's expertise or just thought process. I'm actually going to do a listening tour and talk to the students around what do they think we should be doing, because they're the ones experiencing this daily too. So that's just my ask and plea. Thank you.
So we do have a couple hands raised. So go ahead, Jennifer.
Hi, thanks. And yes, as Jen was saying, all ideas completely welcome. And thank you so much for getting the voice of the students involved. Because again, yeah, they really are critical to this. But just really quick, if anybody is involved in the reimbursement program or knows anybody, there will be meetings held like next week, virtual meetings to help support the families that are going to be involved in that, because it will be a similar reimbursement payment plan that we do with our parent engagement liaisons. So that little part is where we play a role. So if anybody has questions or needs to get connected to those meetings, please reach out. All right,
Jen, I just want to say, and I know you've probably gone by now, I just wanted to say that it's amazing to me how First Student across this country is holding large cities captive with solving their hiring practice problems. And I know our kids are suffering, but you know what? There is something that folks need to get together and make them do their job. People are applying for bus drivers, putting applications in, and they're not receiving the jobs. And this thing about, well, give me a name and I'll look into it, I'm tired of it. I want them to hire people. This is crazy. And I know Denise is saying, Roberta, you're yelling. I'm not yelling, Denise. This is just an emotional thing with me. And another question I just want to ask, and then I'm going to give it to Monica. Monica, I'm not taking away your storm. What role in this 3-bell ringer system does charter schools play? And I'm through with it. That's all I want to know.
Okay, and Keith had his hand raised, then Kate. And then we'll go back to Monica.
Well, as far as this transportation and well, y'all know I have different names for it, but y'all know where the direction I'm going in. There's too much misinformation, too much conflict of interest, and people are not trying to do the right things with their committee. Trust me. Even though I'm not sitting on it, the people might not see me and whatever. I'm involved in a lot of the transportation issues. Number one, the drivers need to be conferred in this too, because parents are doing things to these drivers. The kids are acting up. Administrators are not stepping up. There's a lot of things that's going on that should be addressed. But the main thing now is, okay, reimbursing the parents in the 3-bell system. Reimbursing the parents, I would like to really, I did a little digging into that. A lot of people that's getting into this program is already driving the kids to school. That's number one. Number two, you're driving your kid to school, okay, you're alleviating the so-called thousands and thousands of kids that are waiting on these corners in the morning, which is misinformation too. But once the horse is out the barn, as they say, you can't stop it, but it can be stopped. People just got to go on and just hold people accountable for what's going on. Because technically the other day I'm looking on TV, thousands and thousands of kids. There's 1 or 2 buses, 2 routes that be late constantly. So if you put that, if all them buses is full, you're talking about what, 100-something kids? So let's get the numbers correct, like with the suspensions, with that. People are not, it's too many conflicts of interest with this, and I'm tired of it. Another thing that's gonna pop up with this 3-bell system is when you start talking about kids is playing sports. Now your basketball season is getting ready to come up. Kids is gonna do that. Now if you say, let's say one school get out at 5 o'clock, the game can't start to 7 o'clock. Now how are these kids gonna get home from school at 9 or 10 o'clock when some of the routes are not there? A lot of these proposals that's coming up you add more problems. You're not solving anything. You're adding more problems to the solution. That's one reason why I'm not messing with that operation, because too many ulterior motives in that. Number one, you got to what most of the people that's in it, they're not thinking about nothing. But they say, and there's a pastor that's involved with it. You know what I'll be talking about when you leave the church money on the floor. You're not thinking about these kids. You're thinking about finance. And say dollars, they don't make dollars, don't make sense. No, this don't make no sense. So what people need to do is just hold them accountable for what that. And then some of these ideas, they sound good. But how you gonna implement something within you haven't even did no survey or nothing like that? Okay, you're doing surveys on how you feel, but how you gonna implement a plan to make sure it works? You got to treat this transportation issue like you did when we was going through the pandemic. You got to come up with a plan, not just an idea. You come up with a plan and work on it. And until that's solved, I'm gonna keep doing what I'm doing. But whoever all would want to deal with the transportation issues and stuff like that, trust me, I'm going to deal with it once everything comes to the light. It's going to come to the light in a minute. Then when it fails, it's going to fall in defeat of the district. Because that's all this is. This is a money grab. It's not going to solve any problems, because the 3-bell system, you still got, excuse me, you still got people that's still going to be left out there. And this got to be worked out, because now you got to work this out with the teachers and everything. I mean, it's too many moving wheels to just try to just throw stuff out there, and then you want to implement it within weeks. It takes time. That's all I got to say. And some of y'all know how I feel about it, and y'all know what I'm gonna do about it. Excuse me for being me, but that's how I feel. Continue.
Is it me, or do we want to go to
Benji has his hand up.
Okay.
Sorry, being a smaller housing was kind of hard. I was hearing the point about transportation. I'm not gonna really finish this, but I'm gonna kind of cut it out.
Talk louder.
Oh, sorry. Oh, sorry. It is very difficult situation to address about a problem that we may claim, oh, this is problematic, so can we solve it? And then, as the gentleman was explaining, things are on the way that you can't jump them. I have an example. I was trying to participate in the last almost 5 years right now for the family engagement and the liaison, I guess. I think I probably went to more meetings than whatever, probably. It could be me, the first person. Some of them, maybe I missed them, but I went to a lot, especially based on immigrant. And I connected that story with what he was explaining right now. I want to participate, but I don't see how I have to participate, or then I cut out sometimes from the way. But I try to speak, especially the number one that I speak always is about like immigrant participation and interpretation. Those are the most point that I push always. And now transportation is also became a little bit a pandemic for us. I think what I'm trying to learn is, I'm gonna put it as a way of suggestion actually. If we could come up, because we said we really care, and then if we could come up like what plan we have, and then we put it in writing, put our signatures, send it to whoever we may claim responsible about that issue. A kind of approach that way, because sometimes I realize it, or we may try to do something, but the other side may look on us that we are complaining but not participating. So I would like to emphasize on that. A lot of time, like even parents complain on the street about their children, and then they yelled at on the driver and on the bus side. To me, it doesn't solve, but they are putting their frustration. But they don't even suggest, they only yell on the drivers, why you are late? They don't say, should we be this way, or they don't participate on such meetings. It's gonna be very difficult for us to solve the problem. So can we approach whoever we are approaching on the way? We are not complaining, we are not blaming, but we are trying to participate, to be a part of the solution. And I have a question at the last. Still, I didn't give up. I want to participate on the families liaison, which my 4 children goes to charter school. So I don't know if there is one in charter school. If someone can help me how to really join and be effective for such program. Thank you so much. Sorry, my son is kind of asking a question. Thank you. I concluded.
Danielle, did you want to answer that because you're muted?
No, I was just saying that I was just going to say, just make sure that you give us your contact information so that we can reach out and further these conversations, because you have a lot of good points.
Okay. I can, first I want to, before I give a little bit of an update about the survey, first I want to second Roberta's question. I was hoping that either Jen McCosey or Jen Rich could perhaps answer that, of like, it does seem like charter schools are driving the sort of conversation about the 3-bell system rather than parents within the district. And I didn't know if this is something that as school board members or as part of BPS that they could speak to.
Well, I will say that I'm gathering more information because, oh, and by the way, don't drive out here. It's really crazy. I'm gathering more information because charter school drives so much of what we do. The amount of money that goes directly into charter just from the top before we even see it is incredible. I'm frustrated with the whole thing, and the more that I'm observing this call, I have been listening and multitasking at the same time. I want to dig more into this. I believe Larry Scott, Sharon Belton Cotman, the two of them are very much involved in all charter activities, how it relates to the BPS, where the funding comes from. They head up the committee around charter schools. I'm not sure if folks are aware, but we did actually put a committee together that focuses on charter and how it affects the BPS. I'm not shy or gun shy to say that I'm not totally up to date with that, but I am very interested in their findings as well. And I will be passing an email report later today around this meeting and the concerns that were brought up, so that people are aware we're not just bringing it to the board table on Wednesday. They can come with answers, and it's a matter of, during my committee report, did everyone receive that email? Here are my specific questions. Can you answer these now? Type things. So if you could, I'm driving right now, like throw in the chat, or someone, Danielle or someone, email me specifics that BPTO wants to know about. I can definitely, and work with Jen and folks around, answers for this group, as I see Jen is a constant present here as well.
Yeah, I think my question was more how much, like, it seems to me from the survey that we've done. So we set up and conducted the survey. So far, we have over 430 parents throughout the district that have responded to the survey, and over 86% have said they do not want any change in the bell times. But yet, when I look on the news, I see charter school parents who are pushing heavily and advocating for this. Last week, I guess more than a week ago now, I went to a meeting, one of the parent meetings that the superintendent was having, and I asked specifically what parents are asking for this. And she said, she said, the parents are asking for this. And I said, well, who? And she said, well, there's a committee and this is what the parents want. And what our survey shows very, very clearly is that this is not what the parents want. This is what some or one or a small group of charter school parents want, but the charter schools don't seem like they would have to comply by the same 3-bell schedule that they'd be forcing the public schools into. I see this as extraordinarily problematic. That charter school parents are speaking for the rest of us in BPS, and that's what the district seems to be listening to. So my solution to this is to back it up with data. So before, as an organization, before we could even take an opinion on this Bell perspective, I'm really glad we surveyed the parents, because again, we now have this raw data that shows the strong parent opposition to this, but we also have all these parents entered into the comments saying their reasoning for not wanting the 3-bell schedule. And some of these are kind of the more predictable things, like that this would cause a problem with a financial loss of childcare. Some of them are going to lose their jobs if this goes through because they can't maintain their jobs and get their kid to school at 9:30. So difficulty maintaining that, or difficulty having their career, or they can't afford the extra childcare this would cost for them. Others cited sleep, health, and wellness issues that this would cause, repeating the sort of published research on sleep studies in middle school and high school, saying that later bell times benefit them, but yet, our 3 kind of more successful high schools are moving to, or slated to move to earlier time slots, or they discussed their child's health, wellness, and sleep needs, and how this would impact them, the academic problems that this would cause among their children particularly. A lot of parents commented that their child has ADHD or another disability, and this would severely impact their lives and their abilities to attend Buffalo Public Schools. Other parents discussed the unnecessary chaos this is causing, and saying this is a first student problem. This is not something that we as parents should be inconvenienced by. A lot of parents lamented the loss of after-school activities that this would cause, and loss of time as a family with especially parents who have kids in different schools, which would have like a 2-hour difference in when they start and end. Those parents would have difficulty seeing all of their kids off to school at the different start times, and they wouldn't have time together as a family, and they'd still have to be juggling having one kid at home. A lot of parents picked their schools based on what the start time was. So offering or threatening to make this change, again, seems very anti-family. But I also looked and noticed the resolution that went through the Common Council was also written by the same charter school parents that issued a press release around the 3-bell schedule. I've spoken with Joel Ferraletto and Brian Bowman. Both have called me multiple times this week, actually, now about this issue. And I've learned quite a bit about how it was late filed and pushed through, again, by the same very, very, very motivated charter school parents that are pushing it through the district. The wording of the resolution is the same as theirs. So it seems like this is being pushed very heavily by a very small special interested group, which is what Keith said earlier as well. And I think that's something it's really shocking and disappointing to see that as a parent, and to see that this seems to just be, the school board is pushing for it because it aligns really well with their union busting efforts. That last part was my opinion, not supported by the survey.
Monica, do you want me to share the graphics you made for the survey? You're muted. I'm just going to share. I'm going to assume you said yes.
Yes. Sorry, I pasted it in the chat and I can put it up on my screen. Oh, you got it. Okay. Yeah. So you can see, and Jen, I'm happy to send you this link and to send you updated statistics on this. I have sent them to Larry Scott as well. And
yes, please.
So this was as
I
of.
don't want to interrupt, but everything you have.
Yeah, I'm happy to send it to you. I also am on the speakers list for Wednesday's meeting. and by then I will have tabulated, I started coding and I'm tabulating the text comments, and I will hopefully make you a little infographic that I can hand out to you guys so you guys can have that, that shares a lot of these parents' opinions with some of the quotes, because some of them are really, really powerful of how scared parents are of this going through, of like losing their livelihood and losing their family because of this. So of the survey responses, and this was December 16th, so yesterday before noon that I put this together. I haven't updated it since then because we've had more responses since then, of course. So of that, of course, we have had some people who are not parents responding to the survey, and my thought was that the school board has already heard from the teachers and the teachers union about this issue, but they haven't heard from parents. And so I wanted to filter out, and really solidify, these are parents who have kids in schools. And so at that time we had 326 parents answer, and 85% were opposed to this. We now have more parents, and it's more like 86 or 87%, but it's the same basic trend. There is about 6% of parents would support the change as soon as possible, and 5% in the new school year. As far as we also asked on the survey for people to rate how the bus service has been just over the last month, because that's the other piece of misinformation that's been getting out there. Is charter school advocates have been saying thousands of children are left on the street corners, and that simply isn't supported by BPS's numbers, and that's also not supported by this parent survey. So over the last month, about 75% of parents have, and this is just parents, not employees, the 75% of parents have rated their bus service as good or excellent over the last month. And we have had about 15% say average and about 10% say poor. However, of the people who said no change, that they don't want to see any change happening, they have more people who are upset with their bus schedules over the last month and the bus service over the last month than any other category. And that's somewhat just that there are a lot more of them as well, but they rated it as fairly poor. There's, so 71% of the people who rated their bus service as poor do not wish to see a change in bell time. So it's pretty clear from the parents' voice is pretty, and as the days go on, this pattern hasn't changed at all. Like the pattern's been pretty consistent in this data. It's very clear from this that this is not something the parents want. And so this is not something that the parents want, and this is not something that the teachers want. Why does it keep getting pushed through? And why is this something that BPS continues to support? There are a lot of other solutions that we would love to see implemented, like making schools bikeable, walkable. A lot of parents, even in their comments, suggested community schools or neighborhood schools rather than busing kids across the district, because this is not a one-year problem. This is still going to be happening next year. There's no magic panacea that's going to make a lot of other bus drivers sign up. So next year this is going to be a problem. Maybe we should start thinking towards the future in making long-term changes to alleviate this problem going forward.
Can I just respond real quick? And then I'll stay quiet. I am going to take all this into consideration. Yes, I totally had a different mindset of where we're going with that question. So I see what you're saying. I agree with 75 to 80% of what you're saying, only because the BPS being a school of choice is done because of our the way that racial lines are being drawn, the way that we segregate ourselves amongst our communities and we don't become an inclusive community. And with all of our high schools being more innovative and taking the real turns to make that real, it would be hard for people to be able to go to school within, and I'm not looking at the camera because I'm driving, sorry, but within their neighborhoods, so to speak. A lot of our feeder schools, that go into our high schools are, they're geared toward the high school that's in that particular, area. So I will say that much, but you're right. There are very loud voices. I agree 100%. I've been the one to table the whole parent transportation, paying the parents thing strictly because it doesn't cover the parents who do not have the means to transport their children. The people who are driving their children, as Keith had said, their kids are not the ones that are on the corners freezing. So, what about the people who have to catch the bus, and the people who do not have vehicles, who are paying Ubers during that time frame that, is $20 more for a ride than it would be at noon that day? Or if you're paying parents and families and friends in order to take your students. So I'm with you on that. But the bell time situation, I want to dig more into. I believe you're right that it is a certain group that's very, it's very boisterous. And to be completely honest, the more that we raise awareness around everyone else's voices. So Monica, I really see you as a powerful person who, you come with data, you come with graphics. It's a blessing, because we need to stand behind folks like you who have another perspective. It's very, unfortunately, it's always the loudest voice in the room that gets listened to, and a lot of them normally don't come with all that you're bringing. So I'm glad you're speaking on Wednesday, and yeah, let's everybody stand behind. If the people at BPTO, the majority of folks are not in favor of this, we need to flood the speakers list with those folks and make sure that we hear you, and let's go from there. I don't know what else to say, really. Oh, don't pull out in front of me. It's icy. People don't know how to drive. Anyway, I'm not going to prolong this anymore. I apologize.
Please drive carefully. Like, I didn't know you were driving. I'm sorry. Please drive carefully.
Okay, so we only have 3 more minutes in this meeting. So I know Keith and Roberta both have their hands up. Is there anything that we need to add to this conversation, or can we see if there's any other announcements and let people get on with their day?
Well, Kate raised in the chat, so let's talk neighborhood schools at the elementary level, which does seem to be a solution that is being put forward where, yes, what the one thing that Jen said that I do understand is that our neighborhoods in Buffalo are severely segregated. And the challenge with neighborhood schools is that it could make it more segregated. But the other challenge is that the schools are still very segregated, like Olmsted and North Park are still very, very, very white and reflecting the neighborhood around them. And I can see that but make it so that maybe the default is your neighborhood school, but you can apply to go to a different school if you wish.
And that's what's going on now, Monica. We have neighborhood schools, but the default. But my neighborhood school is 31, and I'm just going to put it at that. And by the way, no, BPTO does not support Mr. Wingo's resolution. I don't know why he put that out there, but it did not come from BPTO. But the other thing is that I just want parents and people to know that. The other thing is that there's an equity problem, Kate, with neighborhood schools. 31 would be a natural magnet, because of the way our neighborhood is set. However, what they've chosen to do is bus white kids to 72 and bring in Black kids from around this city and bring them on buses and put them at 31. So there's an equity problem. The district is doing that. But if they'd have left 31 alone, it would have been an equal magnet because of the way the neighborhood is set. But that's just one example. And so we're going to leave it at that, and we'll have this discussion another time.
I just want to speak to what Roberta said quickly. I didn't say that BPTO had supported Wingo. Wingo lied to the other Common Council members and said that BPTO was in support of this proposal, and that the teachers were as well. And the teachers union has put out a really powerful statement, making it their opinion very clear.
Right. That's what I meant to say. I'm sorry.
Okay, Keith, do you have anything that needs to be added? You had your hand up for a while.
You're muted.
Can't get off mute.
Hello? Y'all hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay, you can hear me. Hello? Oh, okay, y'all can hear me. Okay. As far as Monica, as far as when you was talking about how the survey is charter driven and everything, that operation, never mind. Well, y'all know what I'm gonna say. That is a charter driven committee if you just look at it, because you have Bishop Badger there, you have Sam there, they all act like they're not with, because I'm gonna mention names, I don't care, tell them I said it. They act like they're not for the charter schools. They're for the charter school. They dunking on TV, talking about that. This is all these students, all that. They misrepresenting the numbers, because years ago I was on the committee. I went to one of their so-called press conferences to talk about transportation about 4 or 5 years ago. And when I was the only person. That's when my daughter was in school. I was the only person there at the Buffalo Public Schools. And they started this misinformation tour back then. This is charter school driven. That's all. Most of that survey is going to be charter school driven, because they're the ones maybe that's going to answer to surveys. You know, another thing about this whole thing is that with all this misinformation, if you just want to really solve this, call them out. I can't wait to go and call out, because one of the Bishop, I'm gonna keep his name, Bishop Badger. You got so-called big church and everything like that. You got vans. If you want to just get some of these off the corner, go up there and use your church vans to do this. It's a solution. You don't want to do the solution is the problem, because that thing is, like I said, that's all about dollars. They done turned our kids into a billion. Years ago, I had a board meeting. And he's not a board member now. Larry Quinn called our kids customers. So right then, that lets you know they got the kids are dollars. Once we eliminate, like I said, let's just get down to the work. I'm not for going out at the board meeting and all that. I'm not for that. People know me. I'm gonna get in front of some cameras. Because the one thing about, because they got the misrepresentation out there that, okay, we want to add all these big time stuff. But they're not saying some of these drivers are doing 6 runs a day. And they don't get paid by the runs, they get paid by the hour. So all that's going to do is going to make for more shortages of drivers, because you're going to be overworking the drivers. Then you got the parents cutting off buses, trying to get on the bus, join the drivers. There's so much stuff going on with this transportation. That is going to take years to solve. But first, you got to get all the book. Well, I can't say that around y'all, but y'all get all that out the way, and let's just do the work. Forget all that other noise. I want them to make that noise, because trust me, and the people that know me, I will be in front of some cameras. I'm not ashamed to be in front of cameras, and cameras are ashamed to have me in front of them. I will work with you, Monica, and out there, because I've been doing this transportation for years. But I can't go with the riffraff. Like I said, I talk to drivers. I talk to parents. I talk to the district. I talk to first student. Only people I don't talk to is NFTA, because they don't want my voice. That's all I'm saying. All this misconception, all this here stuff, it has to stop. We went through that with Washington. Now we're going to bring this shit to Buffalo. Let's leave the politics out of it, and let's do the work. I'll sign off. Nice, y'all. Y'all know I get short of breath lately now, because I'm an old senior citizen. Nice seeing y'all faces. I don't know how to unmute now. Monica, you never met me, but I'm that dude. And little short so that quit dancing.
I have, you and I spoke at the same board meeting at one point, so I have seen you in person. I've just never met you in person. But I just want to say the survey is being put out by us as an organization from BPTO. So it's not being, the survey itself is not being put out by charter schools. There may be some charter schools in there, but we do ask a lot of questions that, yeah, we probably should have asked which BPS school you're affiliated with. In retrospect, I forgot to put that in.
That's the only thing that I've been thinking about that too. Like, oh
yeah, I wish we had. Oh well.
So
thanks everybody. We're real we always make sure that we honor people's time, and we are 5 minutes over.
That's what I came to do. Thank you, Kate.
Thank you,
Thank
everybody.
you for showing up, everybody.
Bye, everybody.